Hey gang, welcome to Executive Espresso Caffeinated Conversations with Dr. Heath. And we have a great guest today, but he's in another time zone also, and he's having, I think, a few technical difficulties connecting this morning. We're hoping that he is going to be able to join us. But let me tell you a little bit about him, and his name is Manuj Aggarwal. He is recognized as one of the top 500 global thought leaders in AI. Gosh, that's a hot topic, right? Artificial intelligence. Here we are struggling with just regular intelligence, and here comes the artificial intelligence we now have to struggle with. And a lot of people are very frightened by that. And thankfully, our guest, if we're able to get him on, and I hope we are, can tell us all about that because he's been named as one of the top leaders in AI and startups by Brains Magazine. His technology projects have impacted the lives of 10 million people. He has 4 patents in artificial intelligence, and he's the author of 2 books on technology. And also President Obama, Bill Gates, they've made special mention of a education technology he developed, which Manuj is the factory worker who went from $2 a day to the boardrooms of Fortune 500 companies. But he's going to tell you more about that. And we've been talking about you, Manuj, and thank you for joining us today. As I was telling our audience today, and thank you guys that are going to be watching this in the replay. I know this is kind of early for some of you folks. Welcome, Manuj Aggarwal. Am I saying your last name properly?
That's right, yeah.
Hey, I love to nail it the first time. And this is Executive Espresso. We like to have business leaders on like Manuj that can share some things with us in the short period of time. And we're going to go on with our 18-minute show that we normally do. And I'll reintroduce him, but he's recognized as one of the top 500 global thought leaders in AI and startups by Brains Magazine. His technology products have impacted the lives of over 10 million people. Goodness, you may be one of the people impacted by his technologies. He has 4 patents. Gosh, I'd love to have just one in AI. And he's the author of 2 books on technology. And he's had shout outs from President Obama, Bill Gates on a education technology he developed. And as I said earlier, he is the factory worker who went from $2 a day to the boardrooms of Fortune 500 companies. But we're going to save some of that story till the end and jump right in and ask the question that's on most people's minds, and I'm sure you guys have heard this asked and you've heard different answers. Do you think that AI is going to take over humanity and steal all of our jobs?
Well, that's one of the most common questions I get, but I think that is not going to happen primarily because of multiple reasons. One, jobs, as far as jobs are concerned, there is no technology that can replace human beings. So AI is not going to take anyone's job. Somebody who knows AI and uses AI will take away your job, right? So if you don't adopt AI, then obviously you are going to become less competitive and eventually you will lose your job. As far as AI taking over humanity, that is another typical response that humans have because of our own way of thinking. What humans do, we think that as soon as we have some power, our first order of business should be to eliminate others. But if we look at around nature, I mean, human beings are just one of millions of species on this planet. There's only one species that wages organized war against each other, and that's humans, right?
Crazy
And
thing, huh?
yeah, so to think that artificial intelligence is basically an invention, but even if we think it's alive, it's basically another species. So it's not human. It doesn't have the human ambition. It doesn't have human jealousy. It doesn't have generational trauma that erupts as a volcano when somebody wants to destroy another community, another nation, or take over another species, if you will. So, so we should really, step back and think about what life is all about. Life is not about taking over others. Life and evolution it develops when we collaborate, when we join forces, when we combine our efforts, our skills to find solutions to common problems.
Gosh, there's a
So,
guy over in Russia that needs to hear you talk about this.
yeah,
Um, and I've never heard someone put it that way. Thank you for putting it so well. In my field of psychology, we would call that over assimilation. Over assimilation is thinking that since we think of things in a certain way, that you're going to think of things in a certain way. It's also called personalization. I think Freud would call it projection. And I think that's a good message to people listening, is just because you think in certain ways doesn't mean that your spouse thinks of you in those ways, or that your neighbor or your boss or your employees. We tend to project these things onto other people with whom we have relationships. And Manuj, that's very well put. I never thought about that. We think that AI is going to be that way, since we want to be conquerors and rulers and controllers, that AI would too. But goodness, maybe AI, goodness, I don't know if you call it wisdom, but they just don't have some of the hang-ups. AI wouldn't have the hang-ups that we do. So we don't have to worry about Skynet and a reincarnation of Arnold Schwarzenegger in his younger days coming and shooting us, blowing us all up. What do you think that humans, in particular, the minds of humans, have in common with AI, or maybe AI has in common with the human mind?
it's an interesting two-way street, because AI uses the data that is produced by the human minds, our actions, our devices. It uses that data to figure out what is actually going on in the world. And the human mind, in turn, utilizes what AI is doing and gets affected because we shape our worldview. And today it is true more than ever. We all have a worldview, we all think and see certain things, but most people don't realize that worldview is very heavily influenced by AI today. All the information that we see, you take out your smartphone, everything on that device is controlled by AI. You read the news online, all the headlines, everything is controlled by AI. So when we think about our political inclinations, our inclinations around our family, our community, all this information is being controlled and fed by AI already. And you can see the evidence of all this, like today. And this has been happening not just from today, but from 2008 onwards. Most of the political campaigns, most of the political offices, they are won and lost by utilizing social media networks, data science, and this is nothing but AI. So think about it. Why did Brexit happen? Why did all these political upsets happen when the exit polls and the surveys are saying something else, but the final result is something else, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's all related to AI, because you can run specific ads on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. You can micro target people within a zip code and um, plant ideas in their head which change their way of thinking, and that's all done through AI. So that is how that's how closely our mind and AI are related.
That's amazing. I just heard about AI as far as Chat GPT myself. Gosh, I don't think it's that long ago, maybe 6 months ago. And I was very confused by it. And the confused mind says no, and my mind just said no. And I made a decision knowing almost nothing about it. But then I got to talking to my son, and he was telling me that he is using AI, a Chat GPT in particular, to have more precise searches for information he's looking for. So he said, and this is what really stuck with me, he said instead of putting in a Google search and coming up with 5 million results in 3.2 seconds, you know, and really who cares how fast you come up with it these days, but in that amount of time, he can get a much more targeted response by putting it into ChatGPT. And when he said that, I thought, wow, you know, I really hate myself trying to weed through and scroll, you know, the infinite scroll to find the one answer I want. And I thought, well, I'll try it out. So I just, you know, pushed the button, pulled the trigger, whatever, and I just really fell in love with it. I thought, wow, I had no idea how elegant AI could be in the form of ChatGPT. Now, the mistake that I see people using for ChatGPT, though, is when they do begin letting it do the work for them. Me, for instance, I have some kind of quirky ways of writing and saying some things, and that's our whole take on psychology. It's kind of we hope, a funny, quirkier take on it. So we have these concepts like Dr. Ima Freud Not and Granny Freud Not and the Art Lab, which stands for Accurate Realistic Thoughts, Life Affirming Beliefs. And so I will put a prompt in ChatGPT and instruct it to learn my way of talking, but I still edit. So when I produce something with ChatGPT, it's really me from start to finish. It's really, in my mind, and I'm going to really oversimplify because I'm not an AI guy, is I could take my smoothie and chop it up in some way, or I could take all the ingredients that are my ingredients and put it in the blender, hit a button, the blender blends it up, and then I can pour it out. In my mind, AI or ChatGPT is the blender. I don't know, does that fit at all what's going on?
Absolutely. See, and you will get this easily, being in the field of psychology. Basically, you know, every invention that we have created is to enhance our abilities. So let's say take the car. You know, if I walk to the grocery store, I can probably walk maybe 5 to 10 miles an hour. If I take the if I drive the car, I can go 60 miles an hour. If I use a crane, I can lift heavy weights. But so far, there has been no invention that can increase our mental abilities, our communication abilities. So that's what AI is, where you know, a human mind thinks what 50, 60,000 thoughts a day, and the idea is that our mind races faster than our mouth can communicate our ideas, and even gifted writers have a difficult time to continuously convert those thoughts into elegant and eloquent words, right? Communicate with other people. And that is the struggle humans have. You know, how do I convey what I'm trying to say to another human being? And that gap in communication is what AI is going to fill, because now I can just give it a hint and say, okay, this is what I want to express. Now, based on my knowledge, and by the way, based on your infinite knowledge, please help me put it together. In your example, put it together in this blender, because I won't have to chop it up and spend, you know, hours. You can do it in 2 seconds, right? So
It's a
that is
tool. Yeah, it's a tool, and with any tool you can misuse it. People misuse automobiles all the time. Phones, you know, I guess what's the quote? We've never been better at being alone together, and you'll see people sitting around at a restaurant. It's just such an interesting sociological study to see people go out to dinner together, and they really maybe I don't understand it, but they don't spend time together. They just spend time with their cell phones. I had a guy ask this morning, I think it's Adam Schaubel, he's a big podcast coach, and he asked the question, he said, or he made the statement, he said, if the thing you spend the most time with is your microphones, then you're truly a podcaster. And I put up, 5 or 6 of my favorite friends are my 4 SM7B microphones and my Rode microphone and this AKG microphone here. And so these are tools, and you have to be in charge of them instead of letting them be in charge of you. But I have a pop question for you. Manuj reached out to me about doing the interview, and I really loved the email or the response that you sent me, and I read it and I thought, that looks like a chat GPT response. So I'm wondering if you might have used AI to really reach out and touch me where I am in a way that made sense to me.
Absolutely, absolutely. And full disclosure, we do, because as you just pointed out, right? We want to connect with other people who understand us, and because of our limitations, because of our time, the way that we have been brought up, like we are always in a hurry. Okay, like send one sentence email to somebody and move on. But that one sentence from your point of view conveys what you want to convey, but it doesn't connect with the other person. What is in it for them? Why should they respond? So creating that kind of a emotional connection through words is the most powerful thing. And that's how the most powerful become the most powerful, using their words, using their ideas.
So let
And
me put a finer edge on it there. Hopefully I'll put a finer edge on this.
right.
Is that in my practice, what people, I'll get on camera here, what people struggle with is one person is here, talk, talk, talk. One person is here, talk, 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 but there's no points of commonality. What Manuj did in reaching out to me is he really let AI help him speak my language. Because when I read that, I thought, wow, that's my language all the way through. And I was very confused. I thought, now wait a minute. How did he know this stuff? Where'd this come from? And I think that you can use AI to train your brain to better connect with where the other person is, which brings us to how you might use it in business. You could use this to connect with a very niche area. It may be, people that knit sweaters on Sunday in the summertime or something. Do you think that you can really use AI to niche down and really target a certain customer group?
You can not only niche down, but you can become a super powerful person who can connect with any other human being on the planet, because the only way we connect with other people is when we find common ground. As you said, how did we use the words that resonated with you? Because it reflected your thoughts, right? When we are able to reflect each other's thought, people understand each other, and that's what creates the connection. And now, let's say, you are into human psychology. I am a technical person. There is no link between, like, there is no common theme between our fields of study. But now with AI, we can cross over. I can talk to a chef, I can talk to a musician, I can talk to a truck driver, and I can speak their language, because I have this infinite knowledge and ability to convert that knowledge into relevant words that will resonate with another human.
Exactly. But when we do that, guys, it would be a mistake to let AI do all the work. When AI spits out something, in order to get the education that Manuj is talking about, you'll need to allow yourself to be trainable by what it produced, which means you have to go back and read it. Don't just spit it out. Go back and read it. I'll see folks that put things out that's obviously AI, and they never proofread it. They just let it spit it out, then they copy paste, and that's that. Don't do that. Go back and read it. Okay, before we run out of time here, tell us, how did you go from $2 a day to the boardrooms of Fortune 500 companies? What's your story?
Well, working in that factory was obviously a tough life, and I wanted to change my life. And I knew even at that age that I needed some valuable skill to get out and make more value for myself and for the world. And that led me to my passion for technology and computers and software. And I knew that is what my ticket to freedom was going to be, and I was going to do that for the rest of my life. And then I came over to Canada, in North America, got a job in the dot-com boom time. That, there was a crazy time. A lot of startups, internet startups were coming up. But then I also lost a job. In fact, I lost several jobs in quick succession because of dot-com bust, and then September 11th, then Gulf War. So that led me into entrepreneurship, starting my own consulting company. And through that, we've signed up many startups as clients: Microsoft, IBM, Pearson Education. So all these giant corporations. And myself and my team, we got to see how different industries operate, different types of uh, companies at different stages of their growth operate. And so that was the journey through which, I we used technology. We focused on making impact on humanity. So we did a lot of work in education, we did a lot of work in healthcare. So all of these things led to, the boardrooms of Fortune 500. You are on mute. I think I cannot hear you. I cannot hear you.
That's very inspirational. Thank you very much. I try to hit the mute button, guys, when my guest is talking, and then I forget to unmute myself. And of course, my wife wishes that I had one of these on my forehead, a big mute button. But such is marriage, you know. So that's very inspirational. Let's segue to Manuj's triple shot. What is your current top mental struggle? Your current top mental struggle.
Well, current mental struggle. First of all, we all have multiple struggles. On the personal side, I am going through a divorce, so
Oh, I'm
that's a
sorry.
struggle. Yeah. So, but on the professional side, the very first question that you asked points to that struggle. Me being so passionate about AI, and a lot of people who understand the technology, we think it is going to change the world, and absolutely it will. And the struggle is how to help people get over their fear, irrational fear, and also how to remove this misinformation that a lot of people have taken from Hollywood movies like Terminator. Um, and uh, and they just the sad thing is that if people don't actually take action and embrace AI, they will be left behind. Just like the internet has revolutionized our lives, then the smartphone revolutionized our lives. AI is going to revolutionize our lives 10 times more than any of these technologies combined.
Wow, 10 times more.
The CEO of IBM has said that AI is going to add $10 trillion to the world economy by 2030. Okay.
Wow,
So currently, the world economy is $96 trillion. So that means more than 10% will
wow.
be added by AI in the next 7 years.
That's amazing. I think that one of Elon Musk's big stakes in the AI is I've got to think that he's thinking that that's going to be what gets him to Mars. That
Mhm.
AI is going to get him to Mars and help us
Well,
populate the solar system.
it's AI is already being used. Like Elon Musk is one of the biggest investors in AI. Even like forget about Mars. Just look at his car, Tesla. It's basically Tesla is an AI company. It's a
Oh
data
yeah,
company. It's not a car company. SpaceX, there is no way to land those rockets in the middle of the ocean
absolutely.
without using AI. There is no way.
It's amazing. Just when you watch the little boosters and the jets fire on the rockets, it's just amazing. That's all AI. there's no way that a human being can make calculations that rapidly.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm sitting there watching that thinking the only way this happens, my son and I watched Indiana Jones, the final movie, but I don't think it's going to be the final movie. At the end of the movie, I said, I think what you're going to see is AI will be used to recreate Harrison Ford in his younger form. And I think Hollywood will use AI to bring back all the aging and even dead actors in an AI-produced new movie, new adventure. And you'll see Humphrey Bogart, and you'll see, all these old movie actors come back alive through the advent of AI. Now, let's finish up going back to our human potential. How can we use the power of our mind, do you think, to achieve anything?
See, our minds are very powerful in the sense that everything that we experience in life is our own creation, our own thoughts. The unfortunate thing is 99.99% of the population is not even aware of their thoughts, what is happening in their mind, like the storylines that go on.
And that is called, by the way, folks, implicit processing.
Mhm. So now those stories are what control our lives, if and most stories that we tell ourselves are generally from the past, generally the negative stories, generally sort of things where we made mistakes or went wrong or what have you. Now, as I said earlier, our minds are not very creative in the sense we cannot create a new story in very detailed manner. So what I tell people is, if you want to, rather than me telling you the connection between how our mind can manifest and why are they powerful, I give them a quick exercise, magic wand, right? So anybody who's listening, you can try this. It'll take like few minutes of your time. Sign up for ChatGPT free account, right? Think about a goal that you want to achieve in the next 30 days. So it doesn't have to be like a huge goal, a mission of your life, but something like, I want to take a mini vacation with my kids, or I want to watch this movie, or I want to sign up a client, or something along those lines. Go to ChatGPT and ask it to write a detailed 2000 word story about this event in the first person, in the past tense, as if it has already happened. All right. And add all the details about who did you meet, where did you go, what kind of food did you taste, what kind of smells, weather, all of that. And now read that story to yourself, maybe multiple times a day. Within 10 days, your mind is going to start becoming a new entity. You will feel like a new person. And that's the exact same feeling you get when you start meditating. Your mind starts to open up, it starts to create new stories. And in many cases, whatever you are reading in that story will start to show up in your actual life.
I can complete it. That is so fantastic. I love that. I've never heard someone talk about using ChatGPT that way either. But folks, realize that you can do that in a positive, healthy direction, but you already normally do that in an unhealthy direction. And so it's really depending on which direction you're going to choose. And I would take Manuj's course. I would craft one that serves my life well. Read it to yourself several times a day. We did that a low-tech way many years ago. I had a buddy of mine. He was in human resources. His name was Joe. Joe Maniaci, if you're out there, hey, buddy, miss you, love you. But Joe would, after a hard day in human resources, he had a 3x5 recipe card. He wrote on the recipe card, your day of work is over, it's time to leave that behind, go in the house, and serve your family. And he put that on the visor of his vehicle, and he would stop in his driveway, lower the visor, read it to himself 20 times before he got out of his vehicle. And he testified that changed his life. The brain loves patterns. It is engineered for story. So you guys get out there, create your story, and you can use ChatGPT to do it. You can actually, I would add to that, you could even enter a prompt that says, give me one task each day for 30 days that would improve my relationship with my kids, that takes only 20, 30 minutes, and ChatGPT will spit something out. And then all you have to do is commit to doing that task every day. And don't just say, I'm going to do it. Pull out your AI device. Oh, there's my son right there cooking hamburgers. Pull out your AI device and put it in your calendar. Make an appointment to improve your life. Don't say, I'm going to improve my life. Make appointments with yourself to improve your life. Manuj, if folks want to reach out to you, how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, just find me on LinkedIn and let me know that you heard me on this podcast, and what are you trying to do? How can we help you fulfill your life and find your full potential?
It's been a pleasure having you. Thank you guys for joining us. Let us know what you think about the podcast. And Manuj, if you need anything, you reach out anytime, and good luck in your future ventures.
Absolutely. Thank you so
much. And Manuj, hang around. We'll do a quick after show, but I'll let these folks go.